Chapter 2653, Not Gentle at All, to Illusion. I see. Yi Qingtang nodded slightly. Ayao, why did you bring me into this illusion? Yi Qingtang changed the topic. Miss Yu, I created this place a few years ago. It's called the Temple of Paragon. Since you and I are going to become sworn sisters, we have to return to the Mixed Heavens holy domain for the ceremony. The Paragon smiled. Yi Qingtang was deep in thought after hearing what the Paragon said. Yi Qingtang had earlier said that she was from the Mixed Heavens holy domain too. Therefore, they should return to the Mixed Heavens holy domain for the ceremony to become sworn sisters. Both of us came from the Mixed Heavens holy domain. It's a little inappropriate to become sworn sisters in the divine venerate domain. Miss Yi, you should be able to understand, the Paragon said. Of course. Yi Qingtang nodded. This was probably the rule of this era. Yi Qingtang was not clear about it, but did not have any objections. It had to be said that even Yi Qingtang could not tell if this illusion was real or fake. Actually, the martial arts culture of the Mixed Heavens holy domain is indeed a little inferior to the divine venerate domain. Our hometown is not as prosperous as the divine venerate domain. I only hope that there will be a period of time in the future when we can be on equal footing, the Paragon said slowly as she looked around the divine hall. I believe that with your martial arts skills, you can definitely accomplish what you want, Yi Qingtang said. The Paragon just smiled and said, Miss Yu, to be honest, even from a young age, outsiders have called me a martial arts fanatic. I don't usually like to talk and am reluctant to make friends. It's just that seeing Miss Yu today, I seem to have become more relaxed and can't help but become more talkative. Visit Readle. Me for extra chapters. Before Yi Qingtang could say anything, the Paragon continued. Miss Yu, let me show you my Temple of Paragon. All right, Yi Qingtang agreed. This Temple of Paragon was not much different from the one in Yi Qingtang's memories. However, as it was an illusion, there was no one inside. Directly ahead was a secret room. Yi Qingtang had seen this secret room in the Temple of Paragon in the previous era. However, only the Paragon could open this secret room. Miss Yu, I've hidden some secrets in this secret room. If I were to die in the divine venerate domain one day, Miss Yu, you can head back to the Temple of Paragon in the Mixed Heavens holy domain and open this secret room on my behalf. The Paragon tossed a token to Yi Qingtang. Yi Qingtang was surprised at receiving the token. Ayao, you trust me so much? This was just the first time she and the Paragon were meeting. The Paragon gave a faint smile. It's indeed a little strange. Even I find it unbelievable. It's clearly our first time meeting, but I feel that there's something between us that can't be cut off. Could we really be twins? Without waiting for Yi Qingtang to speak, the Paragon continued. However, this is no longer important. Anyway, you and I will become sworn sisters. In the future, you will treat me as your biological sister, and I will treat you as my biological sister. All right? Loss, all right. Ayao, you're the one who said it. An immortal emperor can't go back on her word. Yi Qingtang smiled. Chapter 2654, Not Gentle at All, 3. There was a huge altar outside the temple. This was where Yi Qingtang and the Paragon carried out the ceremony to become sworn sisters. After the ceremony was completed, the Paragon waved her right arm, and the temple disappeared without a trace. The two of them returned to the vicinity of the Black Tower. Sister Yu, let's go take a look at the tower, but we have to be extremely careful. You have to listen to my orders. The Paragon was firm. Yi Qingtang nodded and walked towards the Black Tower with the Paragon. She stood in front as they arrived below the tower. In a slight trance, she felt like this Black Tower had transformed into a huge beast that had been lying dormant for a long time, waiting quietly. Yi Qingtang's emotions suddenly changed. An inexplicable tragic scene surfaced in her mind. It was unknown where that scene was occurring, but gods and Buddhas filled the sky and were being slaughtered one after another. Countless essence energy was being absorbed by the slaughterer's visit. For a better user experience, Sister Yu, just as Yi Qingtang was immersed in the image in her mind, she heard a voice calling her. In the next second, Yi Qingtang lost control of her body and was brought into the air. Before long, Yi Qingtang returned to her senses. The paragon was holding onto her left shoulder as she was lifted into the air. She was now a distance away from the tower. Sister Ayao. This, Yi Qingtang looked at the paragon with a strange expression. The paragon did not say anything. After seeing that Yi Qingtang had woken up, she slowly descended to the ground. Sister Yiyu, do you know what happened just now? The paragon asked Yi Qingtang. The latest _SODIes are on _the website. Yi Qingtang shook her head. By the time she regained her senses, she was already lifted into the air by the paragon. At this moment, the face of the paragon was rather grim. She mumbled, "Strange the image that appeared in my mind just now." Sister Ayao, what did you see when you approached the Black Tower? Yi Qingtang asked. I didn't really see anything. I was a little dazed like you earlier on, and then there were some memories that didn't belong to me running through my mind, the paragon said. Yi Qingtang's expression grew even more bewildered. Memories that did not belong to her also appeared in the depths of Yi Qingtang's mind just now. Did you see images of gods and Buddhas being slaughtered? Yi Qingtang's eyes flickered as she asked the paragon. Visit. For the best no understanding experience, Sister Yiyu, you saw it too? The paragon asked. Indeed. Yi Qingtang nodded. I saw the same memory as Sister Ayao, but this memory does not belong to you or me. Yi Qingtang had two conjectures now. The first was that anyone who approached the Black Tower would experience this strange phenomenon. Their mental state would be disturbed, and they would see memories that did not belong to them. But many supreme experts and factions had already entered the depths many days ago. Could it be that those cultivators did not experience those memories when they approached the Black Tower? If they did, they would definitely treat the tower as a part of the fourth domain legacy and guard it. It was impossible that they would just ignore it. Weren't those supreme experts and factions here for the fourth domain legacy? How could they ignore this Black Tower? This did not make any sense. The latest _SODIes are on _the website. Chapter 2655, not gentle at all therefore, no matter what, Yi Qingtang was not inclined to believe in her first conjecture. But her second conjecture was somewhat terrifying. Could it be that this Black Tower was only targeting the paragon and her? If she was really the reincarnation of the paragon, then in a sense, she and the paragon were the same person. In this way, it was reasonable that the tower only targeted the two of them. It seemed to be targeting the two of them, but it was actually targeting only one person. However, if Yi Qingtang's second guess was correct, it brought about a new question. Why was the Black Tower targeting her and the paragon? Sister Yiyu, this tower is not as simple as it appears. The paragon frowned. I feel that it is only targeting you and I. The paragon was naturally an extremely intelligent person to be able to become an immortal emperor. Her conjecture was nearly identical to Yi Qingtang's. The only difference was that Yi Qingtang speculated that she was the reincarnation of the paragon, while the paragon speculated that she and Yi Qingtang were twin sisters. Visit. For a better user experience, the corners of Yi Qingtang's lips twitched. She really wanted to tell this gentle sister, Ayao, that they could not possibly be twin sisters. It was more likely that the paragon was her ancestor. Before Yi Qingtang could speak, a terrifying aura suddenly burst out from the surroundings. In just a short moment, Yi Qingtang and the paragon were completely engulfed. Who is it? A cold glint flashed across Yi Qingtang's eyes as she surveyed her surroundings. In the next second, a few men in black robes floated out of the void. The heavenly demon tribe. Yi Qingtang was slightly taken aback when she saw the black-robed men in the air. However, Yi Qingtang returned to her senses in an instant. The latest _SODIes are on _the website. Over the past 2 years, she had lived with Feng Wuyin and Feng Jiuyo in the Great Immortal Temple and never once appeared on the outside. The Heavenly Demon Tribe would not be able to find them even if they wanted to. But now, she had encountered them. Huh, Yiyu, how dare you ruin our Heavenly Demon Tribe's business? one of the black-robed men shouted coldly. Yi Qingtang sized them up. These people were indeed from the heavenly demon tribe. As one of the supreme peak forces of the divine venerate domain, the heavenly demon tribe would never miss the opening of the fourth domain legacy. Many of their branch powers also came along. Before Yi Qingtang could speak, the black-robed men were stunned. To Yi Yus, the leader of the black-robed men frowned and looked at Yi Qingtang before sizing up the paragon beside her. Apart from their clothes and auras, they were completely identical. Visit. For a better user experience, twins? One of the black-robed men asked in confusion. Yi Qingtang was at a loss for words. Not twins. She swore they were not twins. Sister Yi Yu, is this your enemy? The paragon asked Yi Qingtang in a soft voice. I guess so. Yi Qingtang nodded. The paragon suddenly said, That's great. I just thought of a way to confirm the effects of the Black Tower. Yi Qingtang was confused. She did not understand what the paragon meant. However, in the next second, an extremely cold glint surfaced in the eyes of the paragon. The heads of several black-robed men instantly separated from their bodies and fell to the ground, leaving their leader utterly dumbstruck. The latest episodes are on website. Yi Qingtang was also stunned. She was wrong. Sister Ayao was not gentle at all. Chapter 2656 I'm Here to Kill You 1. Yi Qingtang looked at the calm and collected temple of Paragon's paragon standing beside her. Several men from the heavenly demon tribe branch had just died miserably at her hands. Indeed, as an immortal emperor, how could she be gentle? Sister Yi Yu, I have an idea, the paragon said to Yi Qingtang after killing the black-robed men. Yi Qingtang was stunned by the paragon's words. She did not understand what she meant. Sister Yao, what is it? Yi Qingtang asked. It's about the Black Tower. The paragon ignored the last black-robed man in the sky. Instead, she turned toward the Black Tower. Visit. For the best no-understanding experience, when the two of us get close to the tower, our mental states will be disturbed. I want to know if the Black Tower is only targeting you and me. The paragon explained to Yi Qingtang. A glint flashed across Yi Qingtang's eyes. The paragon's idea was not bad. If the Black Tower was only targeting her and the paragon, then it should not be difficult for others to get close or even enter the building. However, if others were also affected by the tower in the same way as the two of them, then it proved that the Black Tower was not specifically targeting the two of them. So Sister Yao means to use him to test the Black Tower? Yi Qingtang pointed at the black-robed man in the sky. Yes, Sister Yi Yu understands me the best. The paragon nodded. The remaining black-robed man's expression changed when he overheard Yi Qingtang's conversation with the paragon. He immediately turned around and fled into the distance. In the blink of an eye, the black-robed man had already fled and disappeared without a visit. For a better user experience trace. Sister Ayao, he ran away, Yi Qingtang said. The paragon smiled. In the next second, the black-robed man, who had already disappeared without a trace, was swept up by a violent wind and brought back to this place without any ability to resist. Crash! The black-robed man fell heavily to the ground. You too. The black-robed man was sweating profusely as he stared at Yi Qingtang and the paragon. His body trembled slightly. If you kill me, the heavenly demon tribe will definitely not let you off. Are you going to become enemies with the entire heavenly demon tribe? The man's voice trembled slightly. Visit. For a better user experience, he never expected to see two Yi Yu here, and that the other Yi Yu's cultivation level was so unfathomable. I don't think the heavenly demon tribe will go after an immortal emperor because of a mere branch member, Yi Qingtang said calmly as she stared at the black-robed man. The black-robed man felt like his last hope had been snatched away by Yi Qingtang's words. Indeed, as one of the supreme powers in the divine venerate domain, the heavenly demon tribe had countless branches. It was not likely for them to chase after an immortal emperor just because of a mere branch member. Furthermore, we just want you to help us with something. If you listen to us obediently, your life will be spared. Yi Qingtang smiled at the black-robed man. The black-robed man's eyes flickered. They just wanted his help? They wouldn't kill him? Well, what do you need my help with? The black-robed man asked carefully. Visit. For a better user experience, you just have to do as we say. Don't ask so many questions, said Yi Qingtang. Chapter 26:57. I'm here to kill you, too. After a long time, the black-robed man finally nodded seriously and said, All right, as long as you spare my life, I can climb a mountain of blades or plunge into a sea of flames. Tell me, what do you need my help with? Go toward that black tower. The paragon looked at the black tower. A strange look appeared in the black-robed man's eyes when he heard that, but he didn't say anything. He hurriedly got up from the ground and walked towards the black tower. The black-robed man was extremely cautious with every step he took. It was as if the black tower was an extremely dangerous place. One might lose their life if he was careless. If that was not the case, why did those two not approach the black tower themselves? Visit. For the best notification experience after an unknown period, the black-robed man finally got close to the tower. His body began to tremble slightly. Puff! The black-robed man finally arrived at the black tower. He wiped the cold sweat off his forehead and looked at Yi Qingtang and the paragon. Is that all? Surprise surfaced in Yi Qingtang and the paragon's eyes. The black-robed man did not lose his mind when he got near the black tower, nor did he show the slightest abnormality. Enter the black tower, the paragon commanded. The black-robed man nodded and entered the black tower hesitantly. After about 10 minutes, the black-robed man walked out of the black tower. Visit. For the best notification experience, how's in the black tower? Yi Qingtang asked the black-robed man with a frown. It's a little dark inside, the black-robed man began. Yi Qingtang, the black-robed man continued. There are many levels in the tower. I've looked at almost every level, and there are just some old knickknacks inside. There's nothing special. Could there be some secret in the black tower? Yi Qingtang and the paragon were even more puzzled now. The black-robed man had entered the black tower. Yi Qingtang and the paragon saw him with their own eyes. In that case, just as Yi Qingtang and the paragon conjectured, the black tower had some kind of connection to the two of them. They were the only ones whose minds were affected by the tower. Visit. For a better user experience, is there anything else you need me to do? If not, can I leave? The black-robed man looked at Yi Qingtang and the paragon. Sister Yi, are you going to let him leave? The paragon asked Yi Qingtang. Anything is fine, Yi Qingtang said. In the next second, the paragon waved at the black-robed man. Seeing this, the black-robed man looked like he had been granted freedom after years of imprisonment. He thanked Yi Qingtang and the paragon profusely before leaving quickly. A cultivator of his level was no threat to Yi Qingtang. There was no difference to her whether she released or killed him. Sister Ayao, I think that the Black Tower is really linked to us. Otherwise, the other factions would already be guarding it and not let others near it. Visit. For a better user experience, Yi Qingtang said to the paragon after the black-robed man left. The paragon nodded. It's really strange. I've never encountered such a situation. Chapter 26:58. I'm here to kill you. 3. The more they could not enter the Black Tower, the more curious they became. It was not just that they cared about how many legacy treasures were in the Black Tower. They were just curious about the link between them and the Black Tower. After a while, Yi Qingtang slowly walked towards the tower again. However, she had just taken a few steps when the previous feeling assaulted her again. She could only stop and return the way she came. Sister Yao, I still cannot get close at all. Yi Qingtang sighed. Forget it. Let's leave this place first, said the paragon. Anyway, the strange circumstances of the Black Tower were only targeted at the two of them. To others, there was nothing special about the tower. It was just an ordinary building that did not attract anyone's attention. As much time as they wasted time here, they would still not be able to approach the Black Tower. It was better for them to search for the fourth domain legacy first. 0K. After pondering for a moment, Yi Qingtang nodded and decided to travel with the paragon. Not long after Yi Qingtang and the paragon left the Black Tower, A cold glint flashed across the paragon's eyes as she looked into the distant void. At that moment, even Yi Qingtang felt an inexplicable pressure coming from afar. Sister Yiyu, be careful. We are being targeted, the paragon warned Yi Qingtang. Yi Qingtang frowned slightly. This aura was extraordinary, and the practitioner's level was probably on par with that of an immortal emperor. Zhou, are you? Since you're here, why don't you show yourself? Yi Qingtang shouted into the distant void. As Yi Qingtang finished her sentence, a man with an inexplicable smile appeared in front of Yi Qingtang and the paragon. Han Sangming. Yi Qingtang's expression changed when she saw the man in the air. It was as if she was facing a formidable enemy. Yi Qingtang would never forget Han Kangming's face. When she first came to this era, Han Sangming had his eyes on the heavenly demon devouring bloodline in her body. If not for Ling, she might have already died in Han Kangming's hands. However, Yi Qingtang had been cultivating in seclusion in the great immortal temple for the past 2 years and did not receive any news about Han Sangming. Visit Readel. Me for extra chapters. Han Sangming for the supreme immortal emperor of the divine venerate domain. The paragon asked Yi Qingtang. Yi Qingtang nodded and said, Yes, Sister Ayao. He is here for me. Leave first. Help me find the great immortal temple camp and tell them about my current situation. They will come and save me. The paragon frowned at Yi Qingtang's words. She sized up Han Sangming. Immortal Emperor, out of respect for me, can you not make things difficult for my sister? The paragon asked. Han Sangming smiled at the paragon. What if I say no? The expression of the paragon turned completely cold. Then you can come and try. I just entered the divine venerate domain and don't wish to have anything to do with the immortal emperors from the third domain. But if you want to attack my sister, I'm afraid I cannot let you do that. Sister Ayao. Warmth surged in Yi Qingtang's heart when she saw the paragon's reaction. Yi Qingtang did not expect that the paragon would go against demon god Han Sangming for her sake. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 2659. I'm here to kill you. 4. Yi Qingtang was no stranger to the skills of demon god Han Sangming. She had personally experienced how terrifying he was. However, she had no idea how powerful the paragon was compared to the demon god Han Sangming. Suddenly, there was a clear, clanging sound. In the next second, violent winds blew in all directions, and the faint sound of thunder rang out in the sky. Yi Qingtang saw the paragon unsheath her sharp sword, which emitted a cold light. Heaven-level divine weapon. Just unsheathing it was enough to stir the power of nature. Yi Qingtang knew how terrifying a heaven-grade divine weapon was. Han Sangming, where's my friend? Yi Qingtang suddenly took a few steps forward and shouted at the man in the air. Your friend? Han Sangming looked at Yi Qingtang. How would I know? Han Sangming, don't pretend to be ignorant. He is the person with the karma bloodline. Yi Qingtang frowned. For the past 2 years, Yi Qingtang had been worried about Ling Yan's safety. With Ling Yan's almost useless martial skills, it was impossible for him to possess Han Sangming. Whether Ling Yan was dead or alive, Yi Qingtang had to know. Oh, I remember now. Han Kangming's lips curled up as he stared at Yi Qingtang. Why? You seem to care about him a lot. Can I ask what's your relationship with him? What has my relationship with him got to do with you? Yi Qingtang asked. In that case, I can only say that he's already dead, Han Sangming said with a smile. Yi Qingtang's pupils constricted and her body trembled slightly. Endless anger surged from her eyes, and she instinctively wanted to continue moving forward. However, before Yi Qingtang could do anything, she was stopped by the paragon. Sister Ayao. Yi Qingtang looked at the paragon. Sister Yiyu, don't be rash. The paragon shook her head. In the paragon's opinion, with Yi Qingtang's skills, she would just be courting death if she went head-on with Han Sangming. The paragon looked to Han Songming. Looks like there's no room for discussion regarding this matter. Visit Readel. Me for extra chapters. Immortal Emperor, you must have misunderstood something. Han Songming smiled when he saw the paragon take out her heaven-level divine weapon. The paragon said expressionlessly, "Oh, why do you say that? If there's any misunderstanding, you can clarify it. I didn't appear today to target your so-called sister. I didn't say that I came here to kill her," Han Songming said. "If so, then there's no animosity between us," said the paragon. Han Songming shook his head. "That's not entirely true. Although I'm not here to kill her, I am here to kill you." Both the paragon and Yi Qingtang were stunned. Han Songming was not here to snatch her heavenly demon-devouring bloodline, but to kill the paragon? Why? "You are here to kill me." The paragon quickly regained her composure. "Yes." Han Songming nodded. The paragon smiled. "There's no grudge between us. Today is the first time we've met, yet you want to kill me. I must admit, I am very curious as to why. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 2660. I'm here to kill you. 5. Han Songming stood quietly in the air and stared at the paragon. The corners of his lips curled up slightly as he said softly, "There's no need for any reason to kill. I feel like killing you, so I will. This reason is sufficient." The paragon nodded at Han Songming. "This reason is enough for me, too." "Sister Ayao." Yi Qingtang's gaze landed on the paragon, and she said softly, "Be careful. This person's skills are unfathomable. Why don't we join forces?" The paragon shook her head. "Sister Yiyu, with your skills, it's better if you don't interfere." Yi Qingtang still wanted to say something, but seeing the paragon's determined attitude, Yi Qingtang finally nodded. "Since you want to take my life, go ahead and make your move. Coincidentally, I have never fought with an immortal emperor from the divine venerate domain," said the paragon to Han Songming. "Good." Han Songming smiled. As he spoke, he raised his right arm slightly and pointed at the void in front of him. Golden flames blotted out the sky as they surged towards the paragon, forming a terrifying sea of flames. The paragon stared at the sea of flames. She did not say anything and just stood where she was. As Yi Qingtang watched, the paragon did not resist at all until she was completely engulfed by the sea of fire. After an unknown period of time, the sea of flames gradually dissipated, but the paragon was already gone. "Sister Ayao." Yi Qingtang frowned and looked around. The aura of the paragon had completely disappeared as if she had never existed. Yi Qingtang could not understand. Even if it was the demon god Han Songming, it was impossible for him to annihilate an immortal emperor with just one move. But then the paragon suddenly appeared in front of Han Songming. Without any warning, she threw a punch at Han Songming. Bang! A loud sound that shook the air echoed in all directions. The paragon and Han Songming's fists collided, causing the entire space to tremble. "You are indeed an immortal emperor from the divine venerate domain. Your reaction is extraordinary." The paragon looked at Han Songming expressionlessly. Visit Readel. Me for extra chapters. The corners of Han Songming's lips curled up slightly when he heard the paragon's words. He smiled at her. The space technique does live up to its reputation. Space technique? Yi Qingtang looked at the paragon. She suddenly remembered that the most terrifying thing about the paragon was not her martial arts skills, but her space technique. It was said that she was the first person in history to completely integrate the space technique into her body and reach the peak of creation. She could fuse with space at will and even transmigrate. The space technique is powerful, but it might not be enough to defeat me. Han Songming continued. Is that so? Since you were so confident, why don't you give it a try? The paragon asked. Swoosh. In the blink of an eye, two astonishing glowing lights shot out of Han Songming's eyes. They were filled with endless destructive power as they shot towards the paragon who was mere inches away. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 2661 I'm Here to Kill You. 6. Even Yi Qingtang, who was standing afar, could feel the destructive power in Han Kangming's eyes. She could not help feeling a chill run down her spine. This terrifying destructive power was probably enough to instantly destroy an immortal emperor's physical body. Yi Qingtang could not help feeling anxious. She did not know how powerful demon god Han Saming was, but he was an existence who was on par with the heavenly emperor. Two beams of destructive light shot out from Han Kangming's eyes, shooting directly towards the paragon. However, the paragon looked extremely calm, as if she did not take those light beams seriously at all. The latest courses are on the website. The paragon's right palm moved slightly, and the destructive light beams suddenly disappeared into the void. No one knew where they went. Space transfer. Yi Qingtang was surprised. The paragon had already cultivated her terrifying space technique to a level that ordinary people could not even comprehend. Just like the mirror of illusions, which could turn all magical powers into matter. However, one had to have precise control when using it. Furthermore, it could only be used once in a while. However, the paragon space transfer was different. It could render all divine abilities and techniques useless. All abilities would be instantly teleported into space. No matter how terrifying a divine ability was, it was useless against the paragon. I see how it is, Han Saming muttered as he witnessed the disappearance of his light beams. The latest courses are on the website. All energy attacks and divine abilities in this world are meaningless to me. The paragon was expressionless as she waved his right hand. The power of your divine ability is not bad. I didn't do anything to deserve it, so I'll return it to you. Swoosh! As the paragon spoke, the void in front of her shattered, and a piercing sound swept in all directions. Yi Qingtang saw the destructive light beams, which had been transported away by the void, appear again. This time, the direction of the light beam's attack was no longer towards the paragon, but toward Han Saming. At this moment, there was no way to avoid the destructive light beams. Han Saming pointed his finger and collided with the destructive beams. Boom! Visit. For the best experience, multiple explosions rang out incessantly as dust flew up into the air from the ground. The nearby mountain ranges were shattered and huge rocks tumbled everywhere. It was a terrifying sight. After the dust settled, Han Saming stood rooted to the ground as he sized up the paragon. To be able to cultivate to such a level in the mixed heavens holy domain, you have truly reached an unprecedented level. I must admit I'm impressed, said Han Saming. The paragon sneered. You have a way with words. Should I thank you for your compliment? You're too polite. Han Saming shook his head. He continued with a smile. The space technique is already at the acme of perfection in your hands. I agree with what you said just now. All forms of energy attacks in this world are already meaningless to you. So, the paragon asked indifferently, so, how will you respond if I don't use any energy-type divine power? Han Saming smirked. Without giving the paragon a chance to think or speak, Han Kangming's body suddenly disappeared from where he stood. At the same time, a terrifying palm wind surged toward the paragon. Visit for a better user experience. Chapter 2662 I'm Here to Kill You. 7. Each move possessed supreme power. Every single one of Han Kangming's attacks could destroy the world and make the heavens pale in comparison. Ancient Desolation, activate. The light in the paragon's eyes flickered as she gave a soft command. A barrier appeared around the paragon. The 5 colors of the barrier corresponded to metal, wood, water, fire, and earth. In the next second, golden light erupted and completely blocked Han Saming. Ancient Desolation, attack. The paragon shouted coldly. Immediately after, Endless flames fell from the sky like a storm. In just an instant, this place became a sea of flames again, forcing Han Sangming to dodge to the left. Ancient desolation grow. Boom! Yi Qingtang saw the ground shatter everywhere, and countless vines surged out from the ground. They were like the hands of a giant as they grabbed at Han Sangming. Too powerful. Yi Qingtang was dumbstruck by the battle between the paragon and the demon god Han Sangming. This was the true battle between two supreme beings. Each move was enough to destroy the mainland. If Han Sangming and the paragon were not restraining themselves, this world would have probably ceased to exist long ago. In the next second, the colorful barrier around the paragon gradually increased to 10. The additional 5 colors represented wind, lightning, electricity, light, and darkness. Metal, wood, water, fire, earth, wind, lightning, electricity, light, darkness. Han Sangming looked at the 10 elemental powers that appeared around the paragon. He fell in a deep thought. Swoosh! The paragon suddenly waved her right arm, and the heaven-grade divine weapon in her hand immediately slashed towards Han Sangming. As the sword descended, the power of the sword's intent reached its limit. Even the surrounding void began to shatter. It was spine-chilling, heavenly demon curse domain. Han Sangming muttered softly, his eyes instantly turning green. Everything turned dark. Yi Qingtang could not avoid it in time, but she was also trapped in the domain of demon god Han Sangming. Is this the domain power? Yi Qingtang's expression changed when she sensed the domain power. Yi Qingtang had heard of domain power, but had never seen it before. She only heard that only those at the immortal emperor level had the chance to comprehend the power of domains. I'm akin to a god in my domain. No one can defeat me. Han Sangming stood with his hands behind his back. He floated in front of the paragon and smiled. The paragon frowned slightly. In Han Sangming's domain, she could only hear faint sounds. It was impossible to see or touch. It was like she had lost her basic senses. At this moment, the paragon seemed to have been reduced to an ordinary person without the strength to even truss a chicken. She was probably inferior even to a normal practitioner. There's no need to struggle anymore. Han Sangming chuckled softly when he saw the paragon's expression. If you had discovered this earlier, you might have been able to use the space technique to escape from the range of the domain. However, due to carelessness, you missed the opportunity. Now, you are totally in my mercy. You can't even speak now, let alone escape this place. The domain was filled with endless darkness. Yi Qingtang stood in a corner, as if she had been completely forgotten. Just as Han Sangming said, Yi Qingtang could not move at all and felt as if she had lost all her senses. Just as Yi Qingtang was a loss of what to do, the power of the great Tao in her body circulated automatically, and her eyes and long hair became snow white. Chapter 2663 I'm here to kill you. 8. Yi Qingtang frowned deeply. As the power of the great Tao circulated, the restraint this domain had on her inexplicably loosened, and her senses gradually recovered. Can the power of the great Tao cushion this domain's restraints? Yi Qingtang pondered. Yi Qingtang at Han Sangming and the paragon. The destructive power in Han Sangming's eyes had already condensed to extreme limits. It could pierce through the body of the paragon at any moment. Such terrifying destructive power was enough to destroy the body of the paragon. Sister Ayao, Yi Qingtang called out to the paragon. However, in this domain space, the paragon had lost her senses and could not move her body. Yi Qingtang's warning was useless. Seeing that the paragon was in imminent danger, Yi Qingtang could not just sit back and do nothing. Raising her hand, a long whip formed by the power of the great Tao materialized. The long whip was covered in a snow-white luster. The latest courses are on the website. Without any hesitation, Yi Qingtang swung the long whip at Han Sangming. Swoosh! With the support of the power of the great Tao, the whip speed was extremely fast, especially in this domain. It appeared as a white flash. Smack! The long whip formed by the power of the great Tao ruthlessly whipped Han Kangming's face. This sudden change seemed to catch Han Sangming off guard. Blood trickled down his face. Crash! The sound of glass shattering. Visit. For the best known Rendezvous experience, the domain shattered and collapsed. As the domain shattered, the paragon returned to normal, and she retreated immediately. Sister Yiyu, well done. The paragon looked at Yi Qingtang and was stunned to see the change in her appearance. However, before the paragon could ponder any further, Han Sangming attacked her again. Han Kangming's attacks became increasingly fierce. The paragon, who had yet to fully recover, found it increasingly difficult to deal with Han Kangming's attacks. Swoosh! However, Yi Qingtang was not idle. Whenever she had the opportunity, she would use the power of the great Tao to whip at Han Sangming from time to time. Sister Yiyu, don't attack. The latest _SODIes are on the website. The paragon reminded Yi Qingtang. If Han Sangming suddenly switched his target to Yi Qingtang, it would be difficult for Yi Qingtang to defend herself with her inferior martial arts skills. The paragon did not want Yi Qingtang to be implicated in this battle. The power of the domain had not completely dissipated, and she could barely protect herself now. If Han Sangming suddenly attacked Yi Qingtang, she might not be able to provide timely support. Can you stop? After a while, Han Kangming's gaze suddenly landed on Yi Qingtang. Your opponent is me. The paragon thought that Han Sangming was going to attack Yi Qingtang and immediately struck out with her palm. In the next instant, the two of them started battling again. This can't go on. Yi Qingtang frowned deeply. Visit. For a better user experience, the effects of the domain just now were just too great on the paragon. She probably would not be able to recover from it so soon. Even though she had increased the strength of her martial art greatly, it was still insignificant in the face of a battle between immortal emperors. However, even if she were to leave now and find the Great Immortal Temple camp, the people of the Great Immortal Temple would definitely not become enemies with the demon god Han Sangming just because of the paragon, whom they did not even know. Chapter 2664 Devouring the Sun 1. The battle between Han Sangming and the paragon became increasingly intense. However, Yi Qingtang could clearly see that the paragon was only defending passively and rarely took the initiative to attack. It seemed that Han Kangming's domain had a huge impact on the paragon. Rumble, 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 rumble. Just as Yi Qingtang was at a loss of what to do, a loud explosion rang out from somewhere, which hurt her eardrums. Even Han Sangming and the paragon were stunned by the explosion. Swoosh! In the next second, a huge fireball erupted with sun-like light and descended from the sky. The paragon hurriedly retreated and arrived beside Yi Qingtang. Before Yi Qingtang could react, the paragon grabbed her and charged into the sky. Visit. For the best no-understanding experience, Sister Yiyu, be careful. The paragon frowned as she warned Yi Qingtang. Yi Qingtang nodded. Boom! The fireball, which shone like the sun, slammed heavily into the ground. A deep pit that was almost 300 meters wide appeared on the ground below. Cracks radiated from the pit, which was filled with endless flames. The temperature was extremely high, as if it could melt everything. What's going on? Yi Qingtang was shocked and looked around. I'm not sure. The paragon shook her head. A strange look appeared in her eyes. How can there be such divine power in this world? Divine power? Yi Qingtang was slightly taken aback by what the paragon said. Was she implying that this was done by a human? The latest _SODIes are on the website. Yi Qingtang had thought it was a natural phenomenon. How can a human manipulate the power of nature? Yi Qingtang asked in surprise. And swoosh. As Yi Qingtang spoke, another few huge fireballs shot toward them. Yi Qingtang glanced around. At that moment, Yi Qingtang realized that the sky was filled with fireballs. They fell in all directions like a storm and were not directed at a single person. Boom! A fireball struck the mountains and shattered the entire mountain range. They slammed into the ground, destroying the entire area. This divine power could be considered invincible. Even immortal emperors had no choice but to avoid it. Visit for the best known experience at that moment. All the supreme forces in the canyon were alarmed. They gazed toward the horizon in unison. What is that? An elder of the great immortal temple pointed toward the horizon. His expression changed slightly. A dog, somewhere in the canyon. The heavenly emperor frowned as he also looked toward the horizon. Who would have thought that the cause of this disaster would be a huge demon dog? The demon dog's body was indescribable. Its entire body was yellow, and its eyes were filled with ruthlessness and viciousness. What was even more unbelievable was that this demonic dog was actually eating the sun. Am I seeing things? A yellow dog eating the sun? What's going on? It is the one causing this natural disaster. What kind of demon is it? It's so terrifying. Is that really just a dog? Visit for a better user experience. Chapter 2665, Devouring the Sun. 2. At this moment, somewhere in the valley, the paragon frowned deeply and said to Yi Qingtang, Sister Yi, look, there's a dog on the sun. Yi Qingtang was stunned. What did the paragon just say? Did she hear wrongly? A dog on the sun? Almost instinctively, Yi Qingtang looked towards the horizon, and she was completely stunned by what she saw. A dog devouring the sun? No. It wasn't the act of devouring the sun which shocked Yi Qingtang, but the dog itself. Visit for a better user experience, that dog. Yi Qingtang stared at the sky in a daze. Wasn't that the big yellow dog? Yi Qingtang did hear that to try and devour the sun when it first came to the lower realm. But Yi Qingtang always thought it was just a joke. Now, Yi Qingtang was seeing it with her ownies. Not only that, it was triggering a destructive natural disaster as it was gnawing at the sun. Yi Qingtang never expected that she would witness the very moment when the big yellow dog first arrived in the lower realm. However, Yi Qingtang could not understand why the big yellow dog was in the divine venerate domain when it first arrived in the lower realm. Didn't she find it sleeping in a wailing well in the mixed heavens holy domain? That demonic dog, just who is it? It possesses such mystical abilities. The paragon stared at the big yellow dog with a frown. Visit for a better user experience, Yi Qingtang. Sister Ayao, that's just a dog, Yi Qingtang said after a while. The paragon shook her head. Sister Yiyu, how can that be an ordinary dog? We don't know how far away it is from us now, but can trigger a natural disaster powerful enough to reach us. Just the sight of it makes me shudder. Yi Qingtang, even though the big yellow dog seemed to be harmless and would follow Yi Qingtang every day in the future era, the truth was that the big yellow dog was indeed from the upper realm. Yi Qingtang did not know how powerful it was. In her era, Yi Qingtang did not have the chance to personally witness the yellow dog's peak and glory. Now, Yi Qingtang finally had some idea of the yellow dog's skills. Before Yi Qingtang could ponder further, endless fireballs rained down again. She wished she could shout at the yellow dog to stop going against the sun. She had beef jerky with her. Visit for the best known experience. Sister Yiyu, let's go. The paragon grabbed Yi Qingtang. It was not safe to stay here. Apart from Han Songming, who was nowhere to be found, there was also the endless rain of fireballs. It was too dangerous. Swoosh! Just as the paragon was dodging fireballs with Yi Qingtang, Han Songming suddenly flew out from the thick smoke and struck the paragon's left shoulder. The paragon was forced back dozens of steps by Han Songming. In the next second, Han Songming grabbed Yi Qingtang and hid in a cloud, disappearing without a trace. Sister Yiyu, the paragon cried out when she saw that. She instinctively wanted to give chase, but a few more fireballs fell from the sky. The paragon had no choice but to dodge the fireballs. Visit for a better user experience. After dodging the fireballs, there was no longer any sign of Han Songming and Yi Qingtang. There was no one around. Chapter 2666, Devouring the Sun. 3. The paragon immediately hid in the void and started to look for traces of Yi Qingtang and Han Songming. A moment later, on a mountain in the valley, Han Songming grabbed Yi Qingtang and gently placed her on the ground. He looked up into the sky and saw that the demon dog was still there. Swoosh! Before Han Songming could do anything, Yi Qingtang waved the long whip formed by the power of Great Tao and whipped his face. A wound instantly appeared on Han Kangming's face and blood gushed out. Han Songming turned around and looked at Yi Qingtang. The latest _episodes are on the website. Seeing that Yi Qingtang was about to lash out again, Han Songming took a few steps back and the wound on his face healed. Han Songming, I have no feud with you, but you want to snatch my heavenly demon-devouring bloodline and take my life. You even killed my important friend. I will fight you to the death. Yi Qingtang stared at Han Songming with a cold glint in her eyes. Now that she was already in Han Kangming's hands, it was impossible for her to escape from this demon god. Since that was the case, she might as well fight him to the death. Oh, how important is your friend to you? Han Songming looked at Yi Qingtang expressionlessly. What does it have to do with you? Yi Qingtang said coldly. Of course it does. Han Songming chuckled. As Han Songming finished speaking, Yi Qingtang's fearful expression changed instantly. Visit. For a better user experience at that moment, the person standing in front of Yi Qingtang was no longer Demon Emperor Han Songming, but Ling Yan. The faint smile on Ling Yan's face made Yi Qingtang feel so familiar and at ease. Miss Yi, how have you been? Ling Yan looked at Yi Qingtang and smiled. As Yi Qingtang stared at Ling Yan, her expression changed. Her pupils constricted. Nevertheless, Yi Qingtang could not easily believe the man's words and appearance. Who are you? Yi Qingtang looked at Ling Yan warily. Miss Yi, why are you still asking that? Isn't it obvious enough? Ling Yan chuckled. Are you really Ling Yan? Yi Qingtang was in disbelief. She knew very well how powerful Ling Yan was. She could kill Ling Yan with just one finger. With Ling Yan's pathetic martial skills and abilities, he still dared to come to this era to possess the body of an immortal emperor. The latest _episodes are on the website. It was impossible. Even with Ling Yan's karma bloodline, it was still impossible. If anything, Yi Qingtang suspected that the demon god Han Songming had deliberately disguised himself as Ling Yan to fool her. How can you prove your identity? Yi Qingtang asked Ling Yan with a frown. Well, how do you want me to prove myself, Miss Yi? Ling Yan asked. Do you know where I came from? Yi Qingtang asked. Of course I do. The Blue Sky Domain, First Main. Miss Yi, you also want to ask me which era you come from. So what if I answer 10,000 years from now? Ling Yan smiled. Yi Qingtang, Ling Yan, it's really you visit. For a better user experience, Yi Qingtang stared at Ling Yan in disbelief. Chapter 2667, Devouring the Sun, 4. Atlas Studios. This meant that Ling Yan had really succeeded in possessing the body of the demon god Han Songming. But how did Ling Yan do it? This matter had completely exceeded Yi Qingtang's understanding. Ling Yan's martial arts skills were not even close to that of the heavenly venerate level, but he managed to successfully possess the body of an immortal emperor. No one would believe this if they heard it. Ling Yan, since it's you, why did you lie to me just now? Yi Qingtang walked to Ling Yan's side and raised her hand, wishing she could slap him. Ling Yan smiled at Yi Qingtang. Missy has yet to answer me how important your friend is to you. Visit. For the best known energy experience, go and die. Yi Qingtang frowned. For the past few years, she had worried about him every day, but he was fine. He had clearly succeeded in possessing the body, but not only did he look for her, he even pretended to be Han Songming to scare her and said that Ling Yan was already dead. Miss Yi, don't be angry. Ling Yan looked at Yi Qingtang and pointed his slender finger at the tip of her nose. I was just joking with you. Yi Qingtang casually flicked Ling Yan's hand away. Why do you want to kill Sister Ayao? A cold glint flashed across Ling Yan's eyes when he heard Yi Qingtang's words. He said softly, Missy has just reminded me that the Paragon is not dead yet. If not for Missy stopping me earlier, she should be dead already. The latest underscore corsodies are on underscore website. Do you have a grudge against her? Yi Qingtang asked with a frown. Ling Yin shook his head and said no. Yi Qingtang, since there's no grudge, why do you want to kill her? Yi Qingtang could not understand. Although Yi Qingtang knew that Ling Yin had his own reasons for everything he did, she still wanted to clarify things. After all, she was already Yao's sworn sister, and Yao sincerely treated her well. Yi Qingtang was certain of this. Miss Yi, do you know that you are the reincarnation of the Paragon? Ling Yin suddenly asked. The latest underscore sodies are on underscore the website. Yi Qingtang was even more surprised. I had my suspicions, but I was unable to confirm it. Since you are certain that I am her reincarnation, why do you want to kill her? So she was the reincarnation of the Paragon. Yi Qingtang had guessed that. However, Yi Qingtang could not understand why Ling Yin wanted to kill Yao, who treated her so well. It's precisely because Miss Yi is the reincarnation of the Paragon that I want to kill her, Ling Yin said. Please explain. Yi Qingtang frowned. If things progress according to history, the Paragon will only die 10,000 years later. You will only be born after she dies, Ling Yin said slowly. But if the Paragon dies in this era, Miss Yi will reincarnate in advance. In that case, after you reincarnate, you will face the calamity again in this era. You will bear the responsibility of the heart of heavenly Tao in this era, Ling Yin explained. The latest underscore sodies are on underscore the website. Yi Qingtang's heart skipped a beat. Although she did not fully understand what Ling Yin was saying, she had a general grasp of his meaning. According to Ling Yan's intentions, he wanted the Paragon to die now. Once the Paragon died, Yi Qingtang would be born. Chapter 2668. I don't like it. 1. Atlas Studios, Yi Qingtang shook her head. Wait. It was a little confusing. What was going on? The more she thought about it, the more confused she felt. She could not understand what Ling Yin meant at all. Visit. For a better underscore user experience seeing Yi Qingtang's expression, Ling Yin chuckled. Miss Yi, do you find it unbelievable? Yi Qingtang shook her head and said, I don't find it unbelievable. I just don't think my brain is smart enough. What did you mean just now? Why do I feel that I don't understand? Can you explain it to me in detail? The corners of Ling Yan's lips curled up into a warm smile. He said softly, of course. Miss Yi, let's start with the timeline. Ling Yin explained patiently. Firstly, you need to know that you are the reincarnation of the Paragon, Yao. The latest underscore sodies are on underscore the website. I understand that. But why do you want to kill Sister Yao, just because I am her reincarnation? Yi Qingtang asked with a frown. She still did not fully understand this point. Yao is your previous life, so the heart of the heavenly Tao has not appeared in this era. Or perhaps the heart of heavenly Tao is still in the heavenly Emperor's body, waiting for its owner, Ling Yin said. Yi Qingtang's expression changed slightly when she heard Ling Yan's words. It was as if she had obtained the heart of the heavenly Tao from the heavenly Emperor's body. In this era, the heavenly Emperor was the temporary owner of the heart of the heavenly Tao. His mission was to protect the heart of the heavenly Tao and wait for the true owner to appear. After that, the heart of the heavenly Tao would leave the body of the heavenly Emperor and enter the body of the true owner. Visit. For the best no underscore experience. In this era, be it you or the Paragon, you are essentially the same person. The Paragon is the vessel and true owner of the heart of heavenly Tao in this era, Ling Yin said with a smile. So your real motive for killing Yao? Yi Qingtang asked instinctively. Miss Yi, the Paragon will die 10,000 years later, and so you will be born 10,000 years later, correct? Ling Yin said. Yi Qingtang nodded. This she understood. The latest underscore sodies are on underscore website. If the Paragon died 10,000 years earlier, you would be born in this era in advance, Ling Yin continued to explain. Yi Qingtang did not interrupt Ling Yin. Instead, she listened patiently. After the death of the paragon, Miss Yi will be reincarnated in advance. In that case, there will be two of you in this era. We came to this era through the ancient god karma tunnel, so we will not be controlled by fate. As for the other Miss Yi, as a Yao's reincarnation, she will replace a Yao and come into contact with the Heavenly Emperor, who is the temporary owner of the heart of the Heavenly Tao. After that, the heart of the Heavenly Tao will be transferred to the other Miss Yi. Once that happens, our goal will be achieved. Miss Yi will completely escape the restraints of fate. The other Miss Yi will bear it for you. As for us, whether we stay in or leave this era, Miss Yi will have escaped this calamity, Ling Yin said slowly. Chapter 2669, I Don't Like It, 2. Yi Qingtang's heart skipped a beat after hearing Ling Yan's detailed explanation. What kind of nefarious scheme was this? This sinister scheme sent a chill down Yi Qingtang's spine. From a certain perspective, Ling Yin was plotting against her, even though it was against another her. Against the Yi Qingtang of this past era. How terrifying! Ling Yin smiled at Yi Qingtang's strange expression. Miss Yi, do you understand what I'm saying? Understand, Yi Qingtang nodded after a pause. Visit. For a better user experience, Ling Yan's scheme was too terrifying. His goal was to transfer her tribulation onto Yao. After she died, it would be transferred to the next Yi Qingtang, who would be born 10,000 years in advance. If Sister Yao dies and I am reincarnated in advance, then what is my purpose? Will I still exist? Yi Qingtang muttered. Ling Yin smiled. I know what you're worried about. There is no conflict. Regardless of whether Miss Yi is reincarnated earlier in this era, it does not affect who you are. This is because, from a certain perspective, Miss Yi is an independent individual and cannot be destroyed just like that. Yi Qingtang still did not fully understand Ling Yin. If I was born in this era, who would my mother and father be? Without the Yi family, everything will be different. Would the new me still be called Yi Qingtang? Probably not. Ling Yin shook his head. In a sense, the new Miss Yi is an independent being and will live a different life from you. She's her own person while Miss Yi is her own person too. After a while, Yi Qingtang took a deep breath and looked at Ling Yin. She shook her head and said, I don't like it, visit. For the best no_freedom experience, you don't like it? Ling Yin was clearly surprised. Yes. Ling Yin, I don't like you doing this. Yi Qingtang's voice was now more determined. What? Ling Yin asked. Sister Yao, what crime did she commit? Yi Qingtang looked at Ling Yin. Sister Yao treats me like her own sister. Even though she is already an immortal emperor, she still wanted to protect me to the very last moment. She committed no crime. Why does she have to die 10,000 years earlier, just because of me? What right do I have to do this? Yi Qingtang asked Ling Yin. Without giving Ling Yin a chance to speak, Yi Qingtang continued. Also, after Sister Yao dies, I will be born in this era in advance. And what crime did this new Yi Qingtang commit? You already decided her fate and eventual ending even before she was born. Visit. For the best known experience, Yi Qingtang knew how wretched it could be. In her previous life, she was hunted down for an entire lifetime because of the heart of the demon god. Every day, she would open her eyes and have to flee in all directions. She was very careful and advanced step by step. No one could understand the despair in this. She had already experienced it. And this other self? Her fate had already been sealed by Ling Yin before she was even born. Her loved ones, her friends, her parents would suffer greatly because of her. Why? Why? If she agreed with Ling Yin, would she still be human? That endless pain and turmoil which she had suffered herself, to force another self to experience it again. How would she be able to live with herself? The latest course ODs are on Underska website. Chapter 2670, I Don't Like It, 3. Miss Yi, you don't like me doing this? Ling Yin stared at Yi Qingtang thoughtfully. I don't like it. Ling Yin, I don't agree with you doing this. Let's not talk about the other me. Sister, Yao treats me like her own sister. Even though we just met, she was willing to sacrifice her life to help me. She even thought that I was her biological sister. You want me to scheme with you against Sister Yao and have her die 10,000 years earlier? Sorry, I just can't do that. Yi Qingtang's tone was extremely determined. What was the thing in her heart all these years? The only thing that kept her going was that her life was in her own hands. She never believed in some bullshit predestination. She only knew that her life was in her own hands and not the heavens. It did not matter if it was a fate that had been predestined since birth or if she was just a pawn that was born to fulfill some destiny. All of these were not decided by the heavens. Visit. For the best no_3 experience, she was the one who decided. She should get to decide her own life. Miss Yi, do you think I'm heartless? Ling Yin asked softly. Without giving Yi Qingtang a chance to speak, Ling Yin smiled. What has the lives of others got to do with me? As long as Miss Yi is fine, the lives of others are naturally worth it. To me, everything in this world, and even the world itself, can be treated as a pawn, but not Miss Yi. Yi Qingtang, forget it. Since Miss Yi doesn't like my way of doing things, I won't do it. Ling Yin suddenly changed his tune. Really? Yi Qingtang looked at Ling Yin in surprise. The latest _SODIes are on the website. I always keep my word. Ling Yin smiled. But this is your only chance. If you let this go, there will only be one final method in the future. Ling Yin looked up into the sky. Get the big yellow dog to help. Yi Qingtang looked at the huge yellow dog that was still chewing on the sun in the distance. Even after chewing for so long, the sun did not look any smaller. I mean, to fight with the heavens is an endless joy. Ling Yan's lips curled up slightly. Ling Yan's words reminded Yi Qingtang of the Heavenly Emperor. The image of him standing in the sky all those years ago, surrounded by lightning. He had the power to say that it was an endless joy to fight with the heavens. All along, Ling Yin and the Heavenly Emperor seemed to be two extremes. The Heavenly Emperor did not fear anything. So what if it was heaven and earth? He would just smile at the heavens with his blade. Even if it was the gods of heaven and earth, he would look down on them. Visit. For the best known experience, however, Ling Yin was at a completely different extreme. He treated the world as a chessboard and everything as his chess pieces. He could scheme against everything while hiding in the dark, causing the world to pale and everything to tremble. Ling Yin never cared for anyone. As long as he could achieve his goal, he could abandon all his pawns. Human lives were just a joke to him. Yi Qingtang did not expect Ling Yin to give up on his scheme just because of her words. Miss Yi, do you like the current me? Ling Yin smiled at Yi Qingtang. In all honesty, Yi Qingtang did not know how to respond to Ling Yan's question. She felt a little flustered. After some time, Yi Qingtang met Ling Yan's eyes. She opened her mouth as if she wanted to say something. However, before Yi Qingtang could say anything, an extremely hot light exploded. Be careful. Visit. For a better user experience, Ling Yin suddenly pulled Yi Qingtang into his arms before retreating backward. Chapter 2671. I won't let it hurt you. 1. Yi Qingtang's mind went blank as she was held by Ling Yin. In the next second, a loud bang thundered. Yi Qingtang saw that the peak of the mountain that she and Ling Yin were standing on had turned into dust after being hit by a huge fireball. Yi Qingtang instinctively looked towards the horizon. The dog was still biting the sun. Was it going against the sun? Something else made Yi Qingtang feel that something was wrong with the big yellow dog. It was originally chewing on the scorching sun, but was now slowly moving its head. Its terrifyingly malicious eyes landed on Ling Yin. The latest _SODIes are on website. This was the first time Yi Qingtang saw such a terrifying and vicious gaze from the yellow dog. It was completely different from the adorable and silly dog in her memory, Karma Bloodline. Yi Qingtang seemed to realize something, and an ominous premonition surged in her heart. From her memories, she vaguely remembered hearing from the yellow dog that it had a deep grudge with the Karma bloodline clan in the upper realm. Now, Ling Yin was the only person in the lower realm who had the Karma bloodline. At that moment, Ling Yin seemed to have sensed the big yellow dog's gaze and returned its look. Huh, is the curse of this era about to begin? Ling Yin chuckled. Yi Qingtang was stunned. Curse. The latest ___ sodies are on _ website. Ling Yin looked at Yi Qingtang in his arms and chuckled. It's not really a curse. We came to this era and are not bound by fate. We are beyond it and can change history as we please, but we have to pay the corresponding price. It's impossible to calculate the price, and it's hard to say if it will be good or bad. What do you mean? Yi Qingtang realized that she and Ling Yan's intelligence levels seemed to be completely different. It was a little difficult to communicate with him. It's very simple. Ling Yan thought for a while before explaining with a smile. For example, if Miss Yi happened to encounter an unfamiliar immortal emperor in our era, nothing would happen as you two had never met. But if Miss Yi changes some history in this past era, perhaps develop a grudge with that immortal emperor, he will never forget you even after you return to your own era. Yi Qingtang felt a headache coming on as she listened to Ling Yan's explanation. She did not want to offend any immortal emperor. This is the effect on the future brought about by changing the past. Now that we have come to this era, there will definitely be some changes. For example, I have no grudge against that demon dog, but it is showing undisguised hostility towards me. This is the price that I have to pay, Ling Yin continued. Visit. For a better user experience, I won't let it hurt you, Yi Qingtang suddenly said. Ling Yin was stunned and a smile appeared on his face. However, Yi Qingtang felt that something was amiss. This yellow dog did not recognize her at all. The big yellow dog must have already fallen into the trap of those Karma bloodline practitioners from the upper realm. It had entered the ancient god Karma tunnel and ended up in the lower realm. At this early stage, the yellow dog's strength was unfathomable. As much as Yi Qingtang's cultivation level had improved, she was just like an ant in front of this big yellow dog. If the big yellow dog really attacked Ling Yin, how could she stop it? Thinking about it carefully, it was really as Ling Yin had said. There was a price to pay for everything. The latest __sodies are on _ website. In this era, Han Saming did not have the power of the Karma big yellow dog, so the big yellow dog would not bother with him. But Han Saming had been possessed by Ling Yin, and Ling Yin had the Karma bloodline. Chapter 2672. I won't let it hurt you, too. Ling Yin looked at the big yellow dog and said softly, this demon dog's gaze doesn't seem to be very friendly. The corners of Yi Qingtang's lips twitched when she heard Ling Yan's words. He had good eyesight. It was the Karma bloodline clan from the upper realm who sent the dog to the lower realm. Now, Ling Yin was the only one in the lower realm who had the Karma bloodline. How could the dog be friendly to him? At that moment, Yi Qingtang could only pray that the dog would continue to eat the burning sun and not come down to cause trouble. Otherwise, she really did not know if she could stop it. This demon dog seems to have interacted with Miss Yi. Ling Yan's gaze landed on Yi Qingtang. Yes, we did have some interactions in our era. Yi Qingtang nodded. I met it at the Wailing Well, and it told me some information. What was that information? Miss Yi, can you tell me? Ling Yan asked. It's about the upper and lower realms. However, it wasn't clear in its description. There's a power that restrains it in this lower realm. It cannot reveal too much, Yi Qingtang said. Visit. For the best no-understood experience, understood. Ling Yan nodded. Also, it hates you probably because of the Karma bloodline. Yi Qingtang pondered for a moment before continuing. Oh, Ling Yan seemed to be interested. Why? In our era, it once told me that it ended up in the lower realm because it fell into a trap set by the Karma bloodline clan in the upper realm. So, it is very hostile towards those with the Karma bloodline, Yi Qingtang said. The big yellow dog had previously said very seriously that it wanted to kill all those with the Karma bloodline. Yi Qingtang did not think that the big yellow dog was joking, so she was a little worried about Ling Yan. I see. The Karma bloodline clan in the upper realm? Ling Yin was deep in thought after hearing Yi Qingtang's explanation. Yi Qingtang still wanted to say something when she suddenly saw ripples in the air around Ling Yin. In the next second, Yi Qingtang saw a cold light slashing out from the surrounding void. Be careful! Yi Qingtang instinctively shouted at Ling Yin. Visit. For the best known experience, however, the moment Yi Qingtang spoke, Ling Yin had already retreated quickly. Boom! A loud bang rang out. A nearby mountain peak was shattered by this cold beam. In the next second, the paragon walked slowly out of the void. Sister Yiyu, I am here. The paragon heaved a sigh of relief when she saw Yi Qingtang. Sister Ayao. Yi Qingtang was slightly surprised to see the paragon. She did not expect the paragon to have continued searching for her. Ling Yin glanced at the paragon and walked over slowly. The latest _SODIs are on the website. The paragon's gaze landed on Ling Yin, and she could not help being taken aback. He had changed his face. Come, they'll take you away. The paragon grabbed Yi Qingtang and was about to cast her space technique to bring her into the void. Sister Ayao, wait a moment, Yi Qingtang said. Sister Yiyu, what's wrong? The paragon stopped in her tracks and looked at Yi Qingtang in confusion. The immortal emperor who attacked us previously is already dead. Yi Qingtang did not know how to explain the truth to the paragon, so she could only come up with this reason. Dead. Surprise surfaced in the paragon's eyes. The latest _SODIs are on the website. Chapter 2673. Convergence. 1. Atlas Studios. The man in front of her might not have the same face as the immortal emperor just now, but his clothes and aura were similar. How could he be dead? Seeing the confusion on the paragon's face, Ling Yin chuckled. Miss Yi is right. The immortal emperor is already dead. You don't have to harbor any hostility towards me. Dead. The paragon's expression became increasingly puzzled. She didn't know what had happened. Sister Ayao, it's like this. Yi Qingtang pondered for a moment before saying, the person in front of me is my friend. He possessed the body of the immortal emperor just now. Oh, the latest _SODIs are on the website. Surprise surfaced in the paragon's eyes when she heard Yi Qingtang's words. Her gaze then landed on Ling Yin again. How was this possible? The paragon knew very well how powerful that immortal emperor was. How could an immortal emperor, who could have the power of the domain, be so easily possessed by others? Sister Yiyu, what you just said, is it true? Although Yi Qingtang was the one who told her that, the paragon still found it hard to believe. Sister Ayao, would I lie to you? Everything I said is true. That immortal emperor no longer exists. Yi Qingtang nodded repeatedly. Yi Qingtang did not lie to the paragon. Han Kangming's body was indeed possessed by Ling Yin. It's a miracle. The paragon could not help sizing up Ling Yin a few more times before continuing. It seems that the martial arts culture between the Mixed Heavens Holy Domain and the Divine Venerate Domain is quite different. If this was in the Mixed Heavens Holy Domain, such a thing would never happen. The paragon muttered, Visit. For a better user experience, Yi Qingtang. Not just the Mixed Heavens Holy Domain, even in the Divine Venerate Domain, no one had ever heard of an immortal emperor's body being possessed. Even Yi Qingtang did not know how Ling Yin did it. Forget it. I don't know that immortal emperor, and I have no grudge against him. Yet he wanted to kill me the moment he saw me. Thank you for helping me and my sister. The paragon cupped her fists at Ling Yin in a show of gratitude. No problem. Ling Yin smiled at the paragon. Looks like your mystical ability has reached the pinnacle of perfection. Otherwise, it would be impossible for you to possess the body of an immortal emperor so quickly, the paragon commented. Not really. It's just because this immortal emperor was too careless, Ling Yin said with a smile. Visit. For the best experience. By the way, since you have seized his body, where is his soul? The paragon frowned slightly. It has been sealed, Ling Yin said. Seal? Yi Qingtang looked very doubtful at Ling Yin's words. He had sealed demon god Han Kangming's soul? That was too ridiculous. Yi Qingtang was pulled to the side by the paragon. Sister Yao, what's wrong? Yi Qingtang asked in confusion when she saw the paragon's strange expression. Sister Yiyu, are you really sure that the immortal emperor from before was possessed? The paragon asked softly. I'm certain. Yi Qingtang nodded. Sister Ayao, this person is my good friend. There won't be any problems. Visit. For a better user experience, Yi Qingtang knew what the paragon was suspicious about. If Ling Yin had not been able to confirm his identity, Yi Qingtang would not have believed that Han Kang's body could be possessed. Chapter 2674, Convergence 2. Atlas Studios, once they were alone, the paragon said softly to Yi Qingtang, Sister Yiyu, this person's aura is very similar to that of the previous immortal emperor. It's very similar and very dangerous. You have to be careful. Yi Qingtang chuckled inwardly. If the paragon knew about Ling Yan's past, she would definitely not say such words. Any random cultivator on the streets could easily kill Ling Yan. Yi Qingtang was actually very surprised that Ling Yan could possess the body of demon god Han Kang. Actually, Yi Qingtang understood the worries of the paragon. If she was the paragon, she would have the same concerns. It was hard to believe and accept such a matter. I'm just afraid that he is pretending to be your friend. If Sister Yi, you can confirm his intention, then just take it that I'm overthinking things, said the paragon. Visit. For a better user experience, Sister Ayao, don't worry. I can guarantee his intentions. Yi Qingtang smiled. All right, there's no problem then. Seeing Yi Qingtang's confident expression, the paragon nodded and finally dispelled the last doubts in her heart. By the way, Sister Yiyu, who is this man who possessed the body of an immortal emperor? The paragon asked Yi Qingtang. From what she saw previously, she felt that the relationship between the two of them was a little special. Hey, good friend. Yi Qingtang thought for a moment before replying. I see. The paragon nodded. However, the way he looks at you seems to imply he doesn't treat you as a normal friend. The way he looks at me? Yi Qingtang was taken aback, not understanding the meaning of the paragon's words. There are certain feelings between a man and a woman. It's the kind of feeling which ends up with them becoming husband and wife. The paragon thought for a moment before explaining. Visit. For the best no-understanding experience, become husband and wife? Yi Qingtang was stunned. The paragon had a strange expression. It's just that, never mind. I don't really know much about these things. I have never experienced them before. Yi Qingtang. Before Yi Qingtang could say anything, the paragon continued. That demon dog is looking at him in a strange way too. Just as she finished speaking, Ling Yin strode over. Have you two finished whispering? How should I address you? The paragon looked at Ling Yin. Just call me Han Songming, Ling Yin said with a smile. Yi Qingtang cast a strange look at Ling Yin. Miss Yi, as long as I am in this era, I need to take the place of the demon god Han Kang, Ling Yin said. Visit. For the best no-understanding experience, Yi Qingtang nodded and did not say anything more. Although somewhat strange, she could understand Ling Yin's actions. He was doing this because he did not want to cause any trouble for himself in the future. He would take over for Han Kang for as long as he could. You are Miss Ayao, correct? Ling Yin smiled at the paragon. Yes. The paragon asked, Are you interested in traveling with us? Ling Yin asked with a smile. I'm not interested. The paragon shook his head. That's a pity, Ling Yin said. Sister Yiyu, I still have some things to settle. Since you have such a powerful friend, I can rest assured that you will be fine. They'll look for you again after I am done. The paragon said to Yi Qingtang. After the paragon finished speaking, she stepped into the void and disappeared without a trace. Visit. For the best no-understanding experience. Chapter 2675, Convergence 3. After the paragon left, Yi Qingtang looked at Ling Yin and frowned. Ling Yin, what did you mean just now? What do you mean, Miss Yi? Ling Yin asked. What do you mean by traveling with Sister Yao just now? Could it be that you haven't given up on your plan? Yi Qingtang asked. So that's what you're talking about. I thought that you were jealous. You made me happy for nothing. Ling Yin smiled and shook his head gently. Yi Qingtang, can you speak properly? Yi Qingtang asked. The latest courses are on the website. Since Miss Yi asked, I'll explain. Ling Yin smiled. I invited the Paragon along because I didn't want her to come into contact with the Heavenly Emperor. According to history, the Paragon and the Heavenly Emperor met here. Unfortunately, that Paragon seems to look down on me and rejected my invitation. Yi Qingtang sneered. It would be weird if she regarded you highly. That might not be the case. Ling Yin stared at Yi Qingtang, and his lips curled into an inexplicable smile. She looks down on me in this life. This means she will have to compensate me in the next life, right? Yi Qingtang was slightly taken aback by Ling Yan's words. She did not understand what he meant. Miss Yi, I'm still the demon god Han Saming. Therefore, there are some things that need to be settled. Miss Yi came under the orders of your master. In that case, you should meet up with everyone from the Great Immortal Temple as soon as possible. Ling Yin continued without giving Yi Qingtang a chance to speak. Yi Qingtang glanced at Ling Yin and said, Are you sure there's something you need to settle? Or are you trying to abandon me to find Sister Ayao? Miss Yi, what do you mean by that? Ling Yin asked meaningfully. Visit. For a better user experience, what do you mean? Yi Qingtang frowned. Miss Yi is afraid that I have fallen for the Paragon and will go look for her. Ling Yin asked. Yi Qingtang, who cares who you like? I'm afraid that you haven't given up on your own plans and want to harm Sister Ayao. Yi Qingtang said. It seems that I was happy for nothing. Forget it. Miss Yi, don't worry. Since I've already promised you, I will keep my promise. With that, Ling Yan's appearance changed to that of Han Saming again. In the blink of an eye, he flew deep into the clouds and disappeared. Visit. For the best known experience, Yi Qingtang was inclined to believe Ling Yan. She trusted whatever Ling Yan said. After Ling Yan left, Yi Qingtang looked towards the horizon. Even now, the big yellow dog was still gnawing on the sun. However, even after so long, the sun remained unchanged. Soon, the yellow dog's huge eyes landed on Yi Qingtang. The viciousness in the big yellow dog's eyes shocked Yi Qingtang. Yi Qingtang did not expect the big yellow dog, who had just arrived in the lower realm, to be so terrifying. The big yellow dog did not look like that at all in her era. Almost instinctively, Yi Qingtang waved at the big yellow dog. However, Yi Qingtang's action made the yellow dog's eyes turn even more vicious. It quickly turned around and no longer looked at Yi Qingtang. Yi Qingtang was rather displeased. Was it spurning her? The latest courses are on the website. She greeted it to show her friendliness. But that dog just turned its head and ignored her. Chapter 2676, Convergence. For, if anything, Yi Qingtang would rather the dog throw a few fireballs at her than be subjected to its lousy attitude. It did not display such an attitude when it saw the Paragon and Ling Yin previously. Yi Qingtang swore that after she returned to the future era, she would never give the big yellow dog any more dried beef. Soon after, Yi Qingtang's soul expanded to cover a radius of 500 kilometers to check the situation in the valley. Once a martial arts practitioner reached the emperor level, their divine soul could expand to 500 kilometers. Everything within this 500-kilometer radius would be under the control of the emperor. As for Yi Qingtang, she was already at the emperor level and was also at the second illusionary stage. Her soul could extend for hundreds of kilometers. Currently, there were no small factions in this canyon. The weakest of them all was still at least a first-tier power in the divine venerate domain. Yi Qingtang suddenly realized that the heavenly demon tribe was also there. She wanted to spy on their camp to get more information, but before she could do anything, Yi Qingtang's soul trembled and she was forced out of the heavenly demon tribe's sphere of influence. The latest courses are on the website. There's a supreme expert. Yi Qingtang frowned slightly. Her soul had been peeping at the heavenly demon tribe's camp just now, but was forced back by someone. There were probably several supreme powerhouses from the heavenly demon tribe in this canyon. Yi Yu. Suddenly, an ethereal voice appeared in Yi Qingtang's mind. Yi Qingtang immediately sat cross-legged on the ground and allowed her soul to continue expanding. Uncle Master Absolute Heaven Saint. Yi Qingtang asked curiously. That's right. The ethereal voice appeared again. Yi, your soul expanded just now, and I happen to notice it. That's why I can't establish a connection with you through your soul. Visit. For the best known energy experience. I see. Yi Qingtang was deep in thought. The Absolute Heaven Saint was one of the saints of the great immortal temple and was also of the heaven tier, like Yi Qingtang's master, the Nine Heaven Saint. His martial skills were extremely powerful and unfathomable. Previously, your master informed me that you were headed here. Don't delay any longer and immediately come to the place where the great immortal temple is stationed. Everyone is waiting for you. I will guide you. The Absolute Heaven Saint instructed. Uncle Master Absolute Heaven Saint, I understand. They'll come immediately, Yi Qingtang said. Yi Qingtang immediately flew forward following the Absolute Saint's guidance and disappeared into the distance. About half a day later, visit. For the best energy experience, Junior Sister Yi Yu. At the encampment of the great immortal temple, a middle-aged man was waiting outside. When he saw Yi Qingtang descending from the sky, he immediately went up to her. Ancestor Lan Shan. No, I mean, senior brother. Yi Qingtang smiled when she saw the middle-aged man. The name of Lan Shan was well known in Yi Qingtang's era. However, Yi Qingtang did not expect Lan Shan to become her senior brother. Junior sister, Uncle Master already informed me that you would be here today. Why did you only come now? Lan Shan asked as he stared at Yi Qingtang. Senior brother, I met with an incident on the way and was delayed. Nevertheless, I'm here now, Yi Qingtang said with a smile. Did anything happen? Did anyone bully you? If so, you must tell me. I promise to help you, said Lan Shan. Huh, you're still standing up for her. The latest _up_sodies are on _the website. As she spoke, a cold-looking woman dressed in luxurious attire strode over. Chapter 2677, Paragon Relic 1. Yi Qingtang looked at the woman and said softly, Senior Sister Wan Rong. The woman nodded and smiled at Yi Qingtang. She then looked at Lan Shan. Junior Sister Yi Yu is a genius and has been in seclusion for a long time. Her current cultivation level is probably already at the illusory stage. You are probably not Junior Sister Yi Yu's match now, yet you still want to stand up for her. I think it's the other way around. Lan Shan immediately looked a little awkward. He glared at Wan Rong and said coldly, Wan Rong, why do you always like to ruin my image in front of Junior Sister Yi Yu? No, I'm just being honest. Wan Rong smiled. The latest _sodies are on the website. With that, Wan Rong's gaze landed on Yi Qingtang. Junior Sister Yi, did anything happen on the way here? Everyone is very worried about you. Nothing much. Everything has been settled, Yi Qingtang replied. By HD, what's the Iowa Tusney? 1 site for it amnio d, gakli in by dv, katayin gayet sake strukluai. Logically speaking, news of the opening of the fourth domain legacy had spread for quite some time. All the major factions have been here for a long time, but none of the factions seem to have done anything. It was a little strange. Lan Shan said, there's no news yet. All the major powers are conserving their energy. We still don't know what the fourth domain legacy is and when it will open. Junior Sister Yi, let's go. Our camp is just ahead, Wan Rong said. Yi Qingding nodded and followed Lan Shan and Wan Rong. Visit. For the best experience, after a while, they came to a stream surrounded by the campsite of Great Immortal Temple. Not far out, an elder sat on the ground, his eyes looking into the distant void. Greetings, Uncle Master. Yi Qingtang walked to the elder and said respectfully. This elder was one of the heaven-tier saints of the great immortal temple, the absolute heaven saint. He was of the same generation as Yi Qingtang's master, the nine-heaven saint. Yi Yu, did something happen? The absolute heaven saint's gaze landed on Yi Qingtang. Yi Qingtang chuckled and said, Uncle, Master, I did encounter some small problems on the way here, but I've already settled them. I hope we can make it in time for the opening of the fourth domain legacy. Visit. For a better understood user experience, the absolute saint nodded slightly and said, Your cultivation level has already broken through to the Emperor's stage. You've been in seclusion for the past few years, and your growth has indeed been the fastest. Your master asked you to come this time because he wants you to train more. Currently, the fourth domain legacy has not been activated, but there are some problems. Uncle Master, what problems? Yi Qingtang asked curiously. Fatal problems. The absolute heaven saint muttered. Heir. Yi Qingtang was surprised. Yi Yu, you have been a disciple of the great immortal temple for several years now. But there are some things about the great immortal temple which you might not know about. The absolute heaven saint looked at Yi Qingtang. Please enlighten me, Uncle Master, Yi Qingtang said. The latest underscore SODIs are on underscore website. Do you know that there is a peerless demon suppressed deep underground in the great immortal temple? The absolute heaven saint asked softly. I know. Yi Qingtang nodded. The great immortal temple was formed by some monks tens of thousands of years ago. The purpose of the great immortal temple was to suppress all evil in the world. In the depths of the great immortal temple was a group of devils sealed by those supreme monks from tens of thousands of years ago. Chapter 2678, Paragon Relic 2. In that distant primordial era, there was a group of monks whose martial arts strength dominated the world. With their peerless strength, no one could match them. Before this group of monks appeared, this world had been a battlefield belonging to the demons. Humans were being slaughtered like crazy, and all living beings were trampled under the feet of those demons. Yi Qingtang still remembered that in her own era, she had read historical records that the heavenly demon tribe appeared out of nowhere and caused misery and suffering to all living beings. Many powerful figures attacked in unison, but were wiped out. In addition, the heavenly demon tribe was only one of the groups of demons. There were existences that were even stronger and more terrifying than the heavenly demon tribe. There were very few historical records about it, and they were all already faded. No one knew what happened in that era, nor did anyone know who created all of that. It was still a mystery where those demons came from. Visit. For the best known NG experience after that, the history of this world was just a blank for 100,000 years. No one knew what happened during that period. However, 100,000 years later, a group of monks appeared out of nowhere. They had the invincible power to dominate the world and work together to suppress all the demons. Although the group of monks had remarkable abilities and boundless power, they still paid an extremely tragic price to suppress the demons. Many monks were heavily injured by the battles and died not long after. To prevent the demons from escaping from the depths of the temple, the remaining monks chose a group of youths with extremely high potential and trained them. Over the next 100 years, the remaining monks also passed away one after another because they could not overcome their injuries. Nevertheless, those youths became supreme and invincible experts of the world. With that power, they expanded the temple and created the great immortal visit. For a better user experience temple over the next 1,000 years. The temple was responsible for grooming disciples to suppress the demons. Disciples who obtained the legacies of those invincible experts would be hailed as saints. In this day and age, countless eras had passed since that dark period. The great immortal temple also underwent a gradual shift from its glorious past to being a steady presence now. Although it no longer had the strength to dominate the world, the mission of the great immortal temple remained the same. Suppress the demons. Yi Yu, the paragon relic used to suppress the demons, will lose its effectiveness as time passes the absolute heaven saint explained. Visit. For a better user experience, Paragon Relic? Yi Qingtang looked puzzled. She had never heard of such a thing. That's right. The absolute heaven saint nodded patiently. This so-called unparalleled relic is formed from the bones of the ancestors after they passed away. Its function is to continue suppressing the demons underground. I see. Yi Qingtang was deep in thought. It had to be said that those temple monks really cherished the world. Even after they died, they offered their bodies to be turned into a supreme relic to continue fulfilling their duty. Yi Qingtang felt a deep respect for them. Uncle Master, if the Paragon Relic fails, what will happen then? Yi Qingtang asked with a frown. She had a nagging feeling that something bad was about to happen. Visit. For the best experience, Qingtang always thought that the group of demons under the great immortal temple had always been suppressed by the saints. She never expected that apart from the saints' powers, they also needed the power of this Paragon Relic. Chapter 2679, Paragon Relic 3. Once the Paragon Relic loses its effectiveness, the consequences will be unimaginable. The absolute heaven saint sighed. Without the Paragon Relic, the power of the great immortal temple saints alone will not be able to completely suppress the demons. We might be able to hold on for a few years after the Paragon Relic loses its effectiveness, but if we are unable to reactivate the Paragon Relic soon, the demons will definitely break out of their seal by then. No one can be certain what will happen or what the outcome will be. Yi Qingtang frowned deeply as she pondered. There were not many historical records about the great immortal temple. However, Yi Qingtang knew that after this, the heavenly demons would break the seal and reappear in the world. The heavenly demons were one of the fiendish demon groups suppressed under the great immortal temple. If their seal was broken, it meant that the great immortal temple would fall. Visit. For a better user experience, Yi Qingtang did not recall much information about the great immortal temple. However, Yi Qingtang was certain that the great immortal temple did not exist during her era. Actually, that wasn't exactly true. It was just that the great immortal temple had long become history by the time her era came. Yi Qingtang had a strong sense of belonging to the great immortal temple. Be it her master, the Nine Heavens Saint, the other uncle masters, or even her senior brothers and sisters, they were all like family. It did not have the dominance of a sect, nor did it have the impersonal vibe of an academy. Even though no one was perfect in the great immortal temple, and her senior brothers and sisters might occasionally quarrel or fight, they would reconcile after a few days at most. Yi Qingtang had witnessed much of this over the past few years in the great immortal temple. Therefore, even though Yi Qingtang did not have a sense of belonging in this era, she still treated the great immortal temple as her home. The latest courses are on the website. In this family, there was no need to worry about saying the wrong thing. As long as you were acknowledged by the great immortal temple as a disciple, you were a part of the family. Everyone was family. Yi Qingtang did not want history to repeat itself, nor did she want the great immortal temple to disappear from history and become just a past record. Uncle Master, what should we do then? Is there no other way? Yi Qingtang asked the absolute heaven saint anxiously. There's still a chance, said absolute heaven saint. He looked into the distance. There might be a second Paragon Relic in the fourth domain. Yi Qingtang's eyes flickered. Indeed, the fourth domain was left behind by some fallen immortal Buddha and would definitely harbor an endless number of legacies. And after that visit, for the best known experience, immortal Buddha died. His body was probably transformed into a Paragon Relic. If they could obtain that Paragon Relic, they could replace the original relic of the great immortal temple. The problem could be perfectly solved in this way. Uncle Master, in that case, we can contact all the supreme factions present and get them to help us find that relic, Yi Qingtang said. This was a major matter that would affect this era. If Yi Qingtang was the leader of a supreme faction, she would definitely be willing to help. After all, if the great immortal temple fell, this world would suffer. Visit. For the best no-understanding reading experience. You are too naive. The absolute heaven saint shook his head. Chapter 26, 80 Paragon Relic. 4. Yi Qingtang was confused. Was she oversimplifying things? A Paragon Relic is the most fundamental power that is formed after the death of an immortal Buddha. An ordinary cultivator who can obtain a Paragon Relic and use it for himself will definitely be able to reach the Emperor level. If an Emperor-level expert obtains it, he can become an immortal Emperor. If an immortal Emperor obtains it, the absolute heaven saint looked at Yi Qingtang as he patiently explained. Humans were selfish. What did the world have to do with them? Under the temptation of such major benefits, everything could be flattened, everything could be destroyed. The latest _SODs are on the website. It was impossible for any supreme faction to willingly hand over a Paragon Relic to the great immortal temple. Furthermore, no one really knew the situation of the demons suppressed under the great immortal temple. Would someone just hand over a Paragon Relic just based on the great immortal temple's word? After a while, Yi Qingtang nodded and said, "That's indeed the case, but if it was me, I would definitely hand over the Paragon Relic. If the demons break the seal, the first to suffer will be the great immortal temple. Thereafter, those supreme forces will not be able to avoid those demons either." That's right, the absolute heaven saint said. But too often, those high-level experts only care about the benefits right in front of them. How could they care about anything else? Then, Uncle Master, what should we do now? The great immortal temple must get the Paragon Relic, Yi Qingtang said with a frown. If the relic was snatched away by someone else, the consequences would be unimaginable. The latest _SODs are on the website. This is our only chance. No matter what. A cold glint flashed in the eyes of absolute heaven saint. Even if we have to massacre all the other factions in this canyon, no matter the price we have to pay, we must obtain the Paragon Relic. Otherwise, not only will the great immortal temple suffer a calamity, but the entire world will also suffer the wrath of the demons. Uncle Master, what should I do? Yi Qingtang asked softly. Yi Qingtang originally came here to find a way to absorb the power of the great Tao in her body, or to see if there was an opportunity to leave this era. However, the great immortal temple was in trouble now. As a member of this temple, how could Yi Qingtang just leave at this critical juncture? If she really left, perhaps the history of the great immortal temple would repeat itself. Although Yi Qingtang had not personally witnessed the destruction of the great immortal temple, she was still very unsettled by the thought. As long as she was alive, she would never allow it to happen. The latest _SODs are on the website. We have discovered a rift in the void. The absolute heaven saint explained. This rift has a huge restriction on the soul bone. If old soul bones like me want to enter, we have to wait for the crack to continue expanding. Your soul bone is just right to enter first. Soul bone. Yi Qingtang was slightly taken aback. That's right. The absolute heaven saint nodded. Soul bones can be understood as the age of the soul. A 100-year soul bone, a 1,000-year soul bone, a 10,000-year soul bone, and even a 100-million-year-old soul bone. The creator of this rift should be about 100 million years old, so there are major restrictions. A 100-million-year-old soul bone. The latest _SODs are on the website. Yi Qingtang was shocked. Chapter 26, 81 Fourth Domain. 1. Yi Qingtang looked at the absolute heaven saint. If it was as he had described, wouldn't this soul bone have lived for 100 million years? The absolute heaven saint continued softly. It is indeed true that there are soul bones who have existed for hundreds of millions of years, but they are too distant a concept for us. As for what they are, we don't know yet, but the only thing we can confirm is that the fourth domain legacy was indeed formed from a 100,000,000 old soul bone. Uncle Master, Do you mean that a supreme existence in the fourth domain lived for 100 million years and turned into a 100,000,000,000-year-old soul bone after his death? The fourth domain legacy was created based on this 100,000,000,000-year-old soul bone? Yi Qingtang asked curiously. Perhaps. The Absolute Heaven Saint gave a slight nod. Yi Qingtang was shocked. This was the first time she heard that anyone could live for hundreds of millions of years. As everyone knew, the top cultivation level in this world was the immortal emperor stage. However, no one had ever heard of an immortal emperor who could live for hundreds of millions of years. To Yi Qingtang's knowledge, the higher a martial arts practitioner's cultivation level, the longer his lifespan would be. An ordinary cultivator could live for more than 100 years, which was already considered quite long. But for those who had reached the emperor stage, they could exist for 10,000 years in this world. When one reached the immortal emperor level, their lifespan would be even longer. Even so, surely it would not be as long as 100 million years. Hundreds of millions of years? Wouldn't that be nearly as old as heaven and earth? Yu, there are many existences in this world that we can't comprehend. The so-called immortal emperor stage is definitely not the end point. The Absolute Heaven Saint's gaze suddenly landed on the big yellow dog on the horizon. He said softly, "It's just like that dog. It cannot be explained." Yi Qingtang's gaze slowly landed on the big yellow dog. Unable to explain? Yi Qingtang could not help quietly shaking her head. It was actually quite easy to explain. The big yellow dog did not belong to the lower realm, but came from the so-called upper realm. It had been reduced to this state only because it had been tricked by the Karma bloodline clan from the upper realm. It was also because of this that the big yellow dog now hated the Karma bloodline clan so much. Not only in this era, but even in Yi Qingtang's era, the yellow dog still wanted to return to the upper realm to take revenge. Yu, before Yi Qingtang could think further, the Absolute Heaven Saint continued. "They'll have to rely on you all this time. Uncle Master." Yi Qingtang did not know what to say as she looked at the Absolute Heaven Saint. Yi Qingtang did not have the confidence to obtain the so-called Paragon Relic. Once the Paragon Relic appeared, there would definitely be a major bloodbath. With her skills, what could she do? Due to the restrictions of the 100-million-year-old soul bone, none of the top experts from the powerful factions can enter as soon as the legacy opens. As a result, we can only place our hopes on you all, explained the Absolute Heaven Saint. Yi Qingtang was slightly taken aback by the Absolute Heaven Saint's words. She asked in surprise, "So, Uncle Master, you mean that after the fourth domain legacy opens, the great immortal temple is prepared to send our younger disciples inside to find the Paragon Relic?" "That's right." The Absolute Heaven Saint nodded. "But the great immortal temple will not be the only one. All the supreme factions will be doing the same." Chapter 26, 82, Fourth Domain, 2. Yi Qingtang was deep in thought after hearing the Absolute Heaven Saint's words. If the top practitioners of the supreme factions were unable to enter at the beginning of the opening, and there were only the disciples and juniors, there might be a chance of them fighting for the Paragon Relic. But even so, the disciples and juniors of the supreme factions were still very powerful. It would not be an easy task for the disciples of the Great Immortal Temple to snatch the Paragon Relic. Yu, your martial arts skills might not be the highest in the Great Immortal Temple, but your master and I both think that you have the most talent and potential. The Absolute Heaven Saint looked at Yi Qingtang. Visit. For a better user experience, Yi Qingtang shook her head. "Uncle Master, actually, senior brother Xiejun's martial arts skills and talent are much better than mine." Xiejun was the direct disciple of the Absolute Heaven Saint. Even in the Great Immortal Temple, his martial arts skills were considered outstanding. Although Xiejun was a disciple of the Great Immortal Temple, he had established his own faction many years ago. Although the faction created by Xiejun could not compare to those top supreme factions, it was still rather famous in the Divine Venerate domain. In Yi Qingtang's future era, who did not know the name Jun. The faction he founded would become the most mysterious evil force in the divine venerate domain. Jun is impetuous and not steady. The absolute heaven saint shook his head. He understood his beloved disciple very well. Master is right. The latest underscore sodies are on underscore website. A handsome young man with a cold expression suddenly appeared. He casually played with a fan in his hand as he slowly walked towards Yi Qingtang and the absolute heaven saint. Senior brother, Jun. Yi Qingtang greeted respectfully when she saw the man in front of her. Seeing Yi Qingtang's reaction, the young man could not help smiling. His gaze was wicked as he looked at Yi Qingtang teasingly. Junior sister Yi, your Uncle Master 9 Heaven Saints' most beloved little disciple. Your reputation is far greater than mine. Moreover, we are from the same sect and are of the same generation. Why do you need to speak to me so politely as if I am your elder? Junior sister Yi. Yi Qingtang, despite what Jun said, the reputation of the future Jun was really too great. Everyone in the 3 domains would know of him. For a moment there, Yi Qingtang was in a fluster. For a better user experience in this era, they might be of the same generation, but in the future, Jun could indeed be considered an ancestor-level senior, right? Jun was not the only one. Even the absolute heaven saint found Yi Qingtang's behavior towards Jun rather strange. Yi is a humble person. It's a publicly acknowledged fact in the great immortal temple. The absolute heaven saint smiled after a moment. Jun nodded with a smile. Master is right. Ever since the day junior sister Yi entered the sect, she has always been extremely respectful to everyone. When I first saw junior sister Yi that year, I thought she had a cold and indifferent personality and would be difficult to get along with. However, the outcome was unexpected. Who knew that junior sister Yi would behave so respectfully to everyone? To be honest, this is the first time I've met such an easygoing person. Yi Qingtang, the latest underscore sodies are on underscore website. It had to be said that this was the first time Yi Qingtang heard someone describing her as such. In the entire great immortal temple, everyone she met were all ancestor-level seniors. It was only right for her to be more respectful. You're tuning into the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.